Alright, let's try covering this book the second part. Alright, we've already waited for this to dry. As I said, it still has a little curve in it, but that's fine. We'll press it in a book press later. Not a problem. Before we get the glue out again, though, I'm going to cut the end papers. I personally use Color Plan as my cardstock of choice. It's pretty sturdy. Also, if you're going to calligrapher or do any kind of writing inside, this paper is amazing for holding ink. Anywhere from copperplate to gothic or broad tip. And these are the colors that it's available. I get mine from paperworks.com. It's the only place in the United States that I've been able to get it, because this is actually a paper from England that's specifically designed for calligraphy and writing. Alright, so now that I've done the shameless plug, we're going to go ahead and cut this before I have to put more glue out. That way everything can get glued together. Also, constantly keep washing your brushes, because glue just doesn't treat them well, and don't use anything that you really like, because it'll never be the same again. Alright, so we're going to cut the block. Basically, we want to do double this one side of the page of the block itself, because it'll cover this, because we're going to glue it right to the two end pages, and it's going to extend onto the cover itself. So, this comes in the ones I bought are standard letter size 8.5 by 11. So we're going to cut it in half to 8.5 by 5.5. As so. We're going to use both parts. Now, if you're making a lot of books at once, you can do all this at once. Or you can do it in sections like I am. I'm going to fold it also because I have a clean workspace right now. Because when you go to glue it in, you're going to glue it in two different sides. So, go ahead. If you have a bone folder, go ahead and use that if you want to, or score it. I'm just not going to do that for this tutorial right now. I'll show how to score on a different tutorial. There we go. Those are our end pages. There's our book block. Here's a cover again. Now, as I said before, we're going to go ahead and cut this extra side off that we don't need, because we don't want this non-tissue paper covered side on there. The reason for that is that this particular fabric, because I tested it beforehand, will actually let the glue bleed through to the other side. Even though there is a slight bit of sticky stuff on this, I don't know if you can see it, but there are holes that go right through the fabric, and so the glue will seep through and make little puddles on the outside, and you'll feel it. Like right now, this is though it's rough, it's clean, and you won't feel any glue when we're all done. And we've already glued it, and none of it came through the tissue paper, which is what we want. Now, you also cut off that extra edge. We're going to cut at a 45-degree angle. Leave a little bit here on the edge, so when we fold it over, it covers the corner. Say we were using wood, like in medieval bookbinding, you'd want to leave a larger lip because you want it to cover a higher piece, the height right here. This is just chipboard, so we don't need as much. And these are going to reach in this card. Alright, here we go. What you're going to do is, before you glue it down, you kind of want to almost give it a feel. You can probably score it, but it doesn't really score very well because it is actually just tissue paper and fabric. So we're going to actually put a fold in it, because we're going to come in and then we're going to add glue and glue these down. Now, it's totally up to you by preference whether you want to do the sides first, the top and bottom first. In medieval times, which is where a lot of my bookbinding reference comes from, each bookbinder had their own preference, so it's no big deal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a little glue here, kind of like around the edge like we did before, on all the sides. And you're going to have to work fast because you have to make sure that this doesn't dry out on you. And again, you're going to get your brush because you don't want the glue lines to show up in your fabric in your book. And push it all the way to the edge, and make sure you brush it all the way to the inside edge as well, because you want it to cling to the chipboard. And we're going to do that. I usually spread it all out first and then get it to adhere. Now, for this particular one, because of the way it's working out, I'm going to put the sides in first because they're smaller and shorter, so they'll need a little extra coverage on from the top and bottom bands because the fabric is a little stiff. And also make sure you don't get the glue on the back end or the nice end of the paper before I start doing anything else. Clean, clean, clean. There we go. Put that over there. As I said, I'm going to put these shorter ends in first. And this is the PVA glue or the natural pH glue. They're both very similar. Again, try not to get glue on the outer edge of it, like I just did. Try to wipe it off, because you can actually wipe it with water while it's still wet. And why don't I just be smart and rub my fingers long. And then we're going to go and catch it this way, because see how it's starting to pull away. Catch it this way. Tuck that underneath. See how you have a nice fold over. Now later you can snip that so it's cleaner. And we're going to do that and that. Now if you're using regular Elmer's, this would not stick like this. Just so you know what kind of environment I'm in today. I am in upstate New York. It's June 3rd and I see it's about 75 out right now. Not too humid. So the glue's actually sticking very nicely. The hotter it gets, the more humid it gets, the not so pretty the glue is. And just because I'm sitting here and it's working, I'm going to snip the corners. Now these are not the greatest scissors for doing this with, but I don't want to get glue on my good Fiskars or Geigers, so this is what I'm going to use. Cap the glue for right now. Now we're going to give that a few seconds to dry. We're going to want to fold this a little bit, kind of train it, because that's where it's going to have to be folded to do the book. You can kind of see how the book shell is now. I just did that. See how the book shell is working. And you'll have a nice cover on it when it's done. And this is why I love making my own book cover fabrics, because book cover fabric is actually extremely expensive, but if you make your own, it's a little more pricey than the regular fabric, but you can use small remnants from Joann's or whatever and make any fabric into fabric. Like this is upholstery fabric. Someone gave me a bolt of it. I had no idea what I was going to do with it because it's plasticky feeling and isn't good for medieval reenactment, which is what originally it was going to be used for. So bookbinding, though, it works out perfectly. Alright, now that we have that, see how they stuck in there? The PVA makes it flexible, you don't hear any cracking, and it sticks pretty well. Now, your book, this is blank, so it doesn't matter which top and bottom it's going to go. It's going to go right there. I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like. And you're going to make sure when you put it in there that you move it down so it's like a quarter on either side. If you wanted to put a bookmark or a piece of ribbon in, tape it along here now before you put the end bands in. Now there's some glue on those edge pages. It doesn't matter because we're going to put more glue on those edge pages. So what we're going to do